What's going on, everybody? My name is Monatui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our team builder for TBU Week 2 versus Skyrander. His channel will be in the description below. Definitely check him out. He was the runner-up last season. He lost to Trip in the finals. He is definitely a very good battler, and like I said, just check him out. Real quick, his team should be popping up on screen now. He has a Mega Sceptile Volcanion, a very good combination, Thundurus T, Scizor, Donphan, Frostlass, Drapion, Gardevoir, Barbaracle, and then on his bench he has Heracross, Slowbro, and Stoutland. Now, he made a bench change this week. He swapped Barbaracle with Heracross, so Heracross will be available to him this match. Barbaracle will not. Barbaracle, Slowbro, and Stoutland will not be available this match. So, I'm definitely thinking he's going to be bringing Heracross versus me. I don't have a ton for it. Like, it's stabs just kind of rip apart my team. I do have some decent switch-ins to that, and we'll get to that in a minute. Mega Sceptile can be kind of scary, though I do have Cresselia and bulky things that can take that on. Scizor. We didn't deal with Scizor well last time. Hopefully we'll deal with that well this time, even though obviously this is regular Scizor, not Mega Scizor. Still very scary. And without further ado, let's just get into the team that we will be bringing. I decided that I could kind of build this one a little bit more bulky, if that makes sense. Bulky, but kind of offensive at the same time, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's get into the team. As you can see, starting off, we have our Magneton, pretty much the same as last week, with the same goal, except I'm hopefully not going to be an idiot with this one this time. This is made to trap the Scizor. This is made to Volt Switch around. Flash Cannon is pretty decent versus this team. Steel Offense is decent. Along with the Electric typing, I can take on Volcanion decently. I was going to go max speed with this, because that way I can speed tie a max speed Volcanion, but with Hidden Power Fire, I'm going to not outspeed by 1 point, which is unfortunate. Also, Scarf Magnezone does not outspeed a Mega Sceptile with enough speed investment, so I have to make sure I keep a note of that. But again, like the thing I just mentioned earlier, Scizor is just a huge issue to my team, and I need to trap it and eliminate it as soon as I possibly can. Also, with the Scarf, I should be able to outspeed non-Scarf Gardevoir, hit that with a Flash Cannon. I can outspeed a non-Scarf Heracross, hit that with a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt. So, this is just a decent mod for his team overall, but like I said, the main goal of this thing is just to trap the Scizor and to knock it out with Hidden Power Fire before it becomes too big of a problem. So, moving on from Magneton, we now have our Cresselia, and this is going to put in a lot of work this week. This much speed allows me to outspeed max speed Adamant Scizor, which is very nice. I also believe I outspeed a Modest Volcanion as well. Somebody check that for me. I built this team a little while ago, so I'm not quite as refreshed on it, but I know I definitely outspeed and max speed Scizor, which is very nice. And then the rest in Spadef. This is going to be my best Mega Sceptile switch-in. This switches into the Thundurus decently, can switch into the Volcanion somewhat. Doesn't want to necessarily, but it can. This switches into the Frostlass somewhat. Like, obviously I don't want to take Shadow Balls, but it can switch in decently if it's not offensive. Switches into the Gardevoir, can take a hit from the Heracross and fire off a Psyshock in return. So this is just a very good mod for his team overall. 3 attacks Moonlight, same as last time, but I have Hidden Power Fire for the Scizor this time. Not going to make that same mistake. I will be able to hit Scizor for good damage for an easy 2 KO. So, also move cover to Psyshock for general stab, hits most of his team. He doesn't have a lot of resist. Ice Beam to hit things like the Drapion that are immune to the Psyshock. Also, Ice Beam hits the Thundurus. It knocks out the Mega Sceptile, which is really nice. Hits the Donphan. And yeah, that's just Ice Beam. And then Hidden Power Fire, like I said, just for the Scizor, because Scizor is an issue. And I outspeed it and can 2-shot it easily, so that's definitely a good thing on my part. Well, good obvious thing on my part. Not to, like, it's obvious that I want this, especially after last week. But anyway, next up, we have one of the few offensive mons on this team, actually. We have a Life Orb, Scolipede, Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Earthquake, and Protect. Jolly with the Life Orb, this is so that I can outspeed a Timid Thundurus after a speed boost, which is very nice. Well, Timid Scarf Thundurus. Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Earthquake, relatively self-explanatory, just do a ton of work to his entire team. Like, it knocks out the Mega Sceptile, Earthquake will 2-shot the Volcanion, and I can knock that out with some damage. Poison Jab does a lot to Thundurus, I have a chance to knock it out after Rocks. Mega Horn actually kind of hurts the Donphan for an easy 3 KO, can damage the Frostlass, can damage the Drapion, I get an easy 2-shot on that with the Earthquake or Mega Horn, assuming it's not fully physically defensive or assuming it's not Shook Berry. I'm able to clean knock out the Gardevoir with a Poison Jab, and I can do nice damage to the Heracross. So once I weaken a few of his mons, this Scolipede will be able to just clean up the rest of his team, which is very nice. Of course, I do have, I have to be careful about the Scizor, but the Scizor weakness is also partially covered in this next mon in Mega Blastoise. So we're bringing a fully physically defensive Blastoise. I'm not messing around with that Scizor. Like I said, it's a big issue to my team. It just threatens the entirety of it, and it's just a problem. Physically defensive also allows me a switch into the Donphan. I can take on the Frostlass, the Drapion easily. Even the Heracross cannot knock me out with any 2 hits unless it is Banded or Life Orb or Guts Boosted or whatever. Also, despite being fully bulky, this thing still puts the hurting on his team. He doesn't have great switch-ins to Scald plus Ice Beam, and the one thing he does have in Volcanion does not want to be toxic, so there's that. This is, again, just a very good mon for his team. Like, it switches into things like the Scizor, it can switch into Volcanion decently. I don't necessarily want to, but it's very difficult to switch into that monster anyway. But I can switch into it, hit it with a Toxic, or switch into it after stacking him on, or getting a free switch into it and hit it with a Toxic, which are really nice. It's just a very bulky offensive mon to his team, despite having no special attack investment. Next up, we have a Gligar, and this is the first time I'm bringing this, so shout out to that. Immunity, so it cannot be Toxic, which is kind of nice. Earthquake, U-Turn, Stealth Rock, and Roost. I wanted a rocker for this team, and I determined that this was the best one. I was going to go with Diancie, but you'll see Diancie in a bit. Earthquake and U-Turn. Earthquake for stab hits the majority of his team. The things I can't hit super hard, like the Thundurus, I can U-Turn out versus, assuming it, you know, if he hard switches out into Thundurus, thinking he can hit me with an HP Ice immediately, I can U-Turn out versus that. I can U-Turn out versus things like the Scizor, the Donphan. I can just Earthquake the majority of his team, because like I said, most of his team is grounded, bar the Thundurus. I can U-Turn out versus the Mega Sceptile and break that thing sub if he has it. And yeah, even without the Eviolite, this thing is going to be a very good wall to his team. It beats a Banded Scizor easily, it can beat a Donphan, it beats the Drapion, it beats the Heracross. Like, Heracross cannot 2 KO it even without the Eviolite, so this is a very good defensive mon to his team, and I'm very glad I have it. I'm going to try and use this how I've been using Mandibuzz in the GBA, as a good defensive pivot. Can switch in, take a hit, U-turn out, get up rocks, Roost, do things of that nature. So yeah, that is why I'm bringing Gligar. And then the last mon we got here, this is going to be hopefully something I can pull off. We have a Trick Room Weakness Policy Diancie with Moonblast, Earth Power, Hidden Power, Fire, and Trick Room. Now, I'm bringing this Diancie set because offensive does, oh, let me just fix that real quick. This does a lot of work to his team. He doesn't have great fairy switch-ins. Moonblast hurts the majority of his team, except for, of course, the Volcanion and the Scizor. Volcanion should be 2 KO'd by Earth Power, or could be 2 KO'd by Earth Power, and Scizor is possibly knocked out by the Hidden Power Fire, so this thing doesn't have great switches on his team. Also, Weakness Policy is good, because there's not a lot that can OHKO me. Volcanion, if it is offensive, which I expect it to be, can knock me out with Steam Eruption, and then Mega Sceptile can knock me out with a Leaf Storm. But other than that, there's really not, well, then Scizor, of course, can knock me out with the Bullet Punch, but suppose Thundurus T goes for, well, he wouldn't have, like, Flash Cannon. If he has Flash Cannon on that, I probably die, but suppose he has Earthquake and his Donphan. I can live that, set up a Trick Room, knock it out with Moonblast, and then proceed to possibly sweep his team, assuming the Scizor is gone. Suppose he has Earthquake or Aqua Tail on his Drapion. I can hit that with an Earth Power, knock it out at +2. Suppose he has some random thing on Heracross, if that gets Metal Claw, or no, Earthquake, suppose he has Earthquake on Heracross. Not sure if he would with my team, but it's possible. I take that, get my Weakness Policy, Trick Room, boom, everything's dead. If he has Giga Drain on Mega Sceptile instead of Leaf Storm, or like Grass Knot or something like that, or hits me with an Earthquake, then I will be able to live, get my Weakness Policy, and then knock something out. So this is a very big offensive threat to his team, surprisingly. And I wanted to run this offensive, so I did need another rocker. That is the big reason why I'm bringing Gligar, but I'm totally fine with bringing Gligar this match for the reasons I already mentioned, in it being able to stop a lot of his physical threats. So, Diancie, I'm hoping to put in a lot of work in this match, because if I set up the Trick Room, if I get my Weakness Policy activated, then he's going to have a very bad time, unless he saves his Scizor for when this happens, which he could, but even then he's risking me going Magneton on the Bullet Punch, which I'm probably not going to do because I don't want a repeat of, you know, last time, but It's possible, and that's going to force him to make a 50-50 he may not want to make. I could also just go Blastoise and have a good middle play. So, anyway, without further ado, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys are looking forward to the match. It will be up tomorrow on Friday? Friday. Yep, that's the day. Match will be up on Friday, and I will see you then.